Hello everyone. I'd like to give a presentation about my paper, a data analysis method using orthogonal transformation in a reproducing kernel Hilbert space. I have four parts: the background, the proposal, experiment, and the conclusion and future work. First part is the background. As we all know, machine learning is to let machine learn data to make predictions and decisions. The machine learning approaches are traditionally divided into four categories. The first one is unsupervised learning. No labels are given to data, leaving it alone to find out the structure inside the data. It is used for the clustering, feature extraction, and pattern recognition problems. The next one is supervised learning. It uses labeled data for solving the classification and the regression problems. Between these two concepts, here's a trade-off named semi-supervised learning. It permits a small amount of labeled data to help reduce cost in labeling and to solve the problem when there is no enough labeled data for supervised learning. The last one is the reinforcement learning. It takes actions in a dynamic environment to maximize the cumulative reward. The focus is on finding a balance between the exploration of uncharted territory and exploitation of current knowledge. Here are two statistical learning algorithms. They are all based on the orthogonal transformation and used for the linear dimensional reduction and feature extraction. About the orthogonal transformation, before and after transformation, the inner products of two vectors are the same. The first one is unsupervised learning method, principal component analysis (PCA). It is to find the projection vectors of maximal total variance. As shown in this picture, PC1 is our target vector because all of the data projections onto this direction are most decentralized. That is a maximal total variance. The second one is supervised learning method, linear discriminant analysis (LDA). It has two objectives. First one is the largest distance between classes, and the second one, minimal linear inner class variances. As shown in this picture, LDA1 is our target direction because all of the inside each class, the data projections are most centralized respectively, and the distance between the means of two classes is maximal. So LDA1 satisfies these two objectives, which is the target direction. Next is kernel method. We can learn about it by this simple example. In this two-dimensional space, if we'd like to separate the dots and the stars, we have to use a circle, which is a non-linear model. It's complicated to be solved. After mapping all of this data into three-dimensional space, we can use a flat to separate the dots and the stars, which is a linear model. It's simpler to be solved. So by increasing the dimension, we transformate the linearly inseparable data into the linearly separable data. By the fit map, this map can be implemented by the kernel function. The input of the kernel function is the inner product of two vectors and its output is the inner product of the mapped vectors. Before the feature mapping, the lower dimensional space is called the original space, and after the feature mapping, the higher dimensional space is called the feature space, also known as the reproducing kernel Hilbert space. As mentioned above, the PCA and LDA are used for the linear dimensional reduction, and their implementation in feature space by using kernel method is called the kernel principal component analysis (KPC), and the generalized discriminant analysis (JDA). They are used for the nonlinear dimensionality reduction in feature space. Next is our proposal part. In reference 1, the author combines 3 objectives of PCA and LDA to generate a framework of of 7 methods called linear principal component discriminant analysis of PCDA. As mentioned above, the PCA and LDA are unsupervised and supervised learning method respectively. So these 7 methods has both unsupervised and supervised characteristics. They can be called the semi-supervised data analysis methods. Our motivation is to implement the semi-supervised data analysis methods in feature space for the linearly inseparable problems. We choose method number 1 to kernelize it by combining the 3 objectives of KPCA and the JDA. Here's the theoretical implementation of method number 1. Here's the experiment part. We select 2 kernel functions, the Gaussian kernel and the polynomial kernel, and we choose 2 datasets, the classical facial iris and the classical one. We design 2 forms of evaluation. The visual evaluation by displaying the classification results of projected samples onto first 2 principal axes, and the quantitative evaluation to calculate 3 metrics: total variance, inner class variances, and the sum of distance between class means. Here's the result on facial iris dataset by using the Gaussian kernel with the parameter value equals to 0.2. As shown in this picture, our proposed method number 1 has perfect classification performance as JDA and superior than KPCA. Here's the result by using polynomial kernel with parameter value r equals to 3. And the number 1 method has similar projection direction as KPCA and similar performance as JDA and KPCA. Here's the result on one dataset by using Gaussian kernel with the same parameter value. As shown here, our proposed method number 1 has perfect classification performance as JDA and superior than KPCA, and moreover, method number 1 performs best in the evaluation results of item total variance of classes. Here's the result on one dataset by using polynomial kernel. Generally, the result is not very good, no matter our proposed method and JDA and KPCA. So in total, on specific cases of specific datasets or specific kernels, our proposed method number 1 performs better than JDA or KPCA. It offers an alternative to KPCA or JDA. Here's the conclusion part. We proposed data analysis methods to solve the linearly inseparable data analysis problems, and in the future we will kernelize other data analysis methods in LPCD, and we will work on the parameter optimization problems for the kernel functions. Okay, thanks for listening.